what would you be telling marketers to stop doing right now? What do you think marketers are getting wrong?
I think it's a tough one, you know, because I think so. It goes back to the alignment thing. I think marketers can really bury their head in the sand and just start running away with content and things that aren't really pushing anything from a sales perspective. They're not helping the sales org. So like if before you release any new content, so if you're releasing an ebook, for example, if you're writing an ebook, go speak with your sales team, ask them, hey, what are customers actually asking for? Actually, even better than that, sit in a customer call and ask them what customers are interested in, right? Like marketers get that wrong all the time. They base things off gut. And that's not good, because like you just don't understand the pain. Like then there may be something that you're not seeing, right? So anything that we do from a content perspective ourselves is always booked by the sales team. Always, like they're our customer. So the sales team should be the ones that should guide us in which way is the best way to scope things. So like from that perspective, I do that. And what I find, like this is something that came up in the past couple of weeks as well, was that marketers are spending a lot of time in execution, like to get it perfect before executing. Okay, like don't. Just like take the webinar example as anything. Like we spoke on Saturday about speaking on Monday, spoke on Monday, released the webinar on the Tuesday, got 675 registrations by the Thursday, launched, spoke with Johnny directly after the webinar at 7 p.m. By Friday, we'd already written up a landing page and gotten Aaron Ross to confirm. By Monday and next week, we'd already launched that. And by Thursday, we'd already had 2,000 registrations and we were ready to go again. So like, do you think all of that was perfect? Hell no. Like there was lots of things that were shit. Like, don't get me wrong, but did we let that stop us? Did we like dwell on the little things, being like, oh, you know, the deck could have looked a bit better, or we need to focus on getting a better tech for the webinars, or we need to do this, whatever. Like, don't. Just keep it simple. Keep it really, really simple.
What are the things that you're seeing out there in the world that you think marketers need to stop doing this because it's just either not working or it's just a waste of time? Can you think of anything off the top of your head?
Two ideas quickly come to mind. One is stop trying to circumvent the executive assistants. Think of them as VPs of access and include them in your campaigns. They're really important. They're critical. And sometimes they're the sharpest people in the companies that you're approaching. So, you know, never try to circumvent the assistant, include them. And then the other one is everybody's overusing emails and they're saying, oh, you know, what's in your sequence, or here's what my sequence is. Already that's really very impersonal. And when so I just think it's getting overused. It's not that it doesn't work. It does work, but I think it's getting overused. Automation is probably overused. I mean, like who's going to engage in an automated conversation? You know, we can figure it out pretty quickly. And then that copy, just the copy length is just horribly long. So if you're reaching out to someone who's very important, well, their time is important, and you need to show respect for that time.
What's the thing that you'd be telling to salespeople to stop doing right now?
Yeah, I would say three things, and they might not be in the same category as the question intends, but first and foremost, webinars. The three things people should not be doing right now. Webinars, I think you have to either do workshops or pre-record it. Workshops are truly interactive, limit the amount of people who are actually there, force people to participate, or pre-record it and get that production value through the roof. And when you serve it up to me to advertise it, I can click on it and watch it right away. So no more live webinars with 200 attendees at a set time. I think it's a little antiquated. The second thing would be virtual backgrounds. Might just be a personal thing. I don't care what your space looks like, but I would rather it, like, I don't want your head to get cut off. It's distracting. And I think like just be you, be realistic about the space that you're working in. Like just be you, stop using virtual backgrounds. And then the other one is not asking for help. So stop not asking for help. I think people are trying to, they're scared about their jobs. There's been a lot of layoffs. Unemployment was on the rise. Now, you know, maybe it's coming down a little bit. But so people are trying to project strength and confidence and say like, no, I got it all under control. To the point about empathy earlier, like everyone knows how much is going on. So if you're struggling with something or you're stressed, you're anxious, you're whatever, there are literally thousands of people who are going through the exact same thing. inside your company or out, but just like ask people for help, ask them for ideas for how to approach things differently. Listen to podcasts if the actual live communication doesn't do it for you. You can't get over that hurdle, but don't pretend like everything's all right and keep trying to project strength. If it's not, fix the problem. So then you can move forward more confidently and not turn into just like a ball of stress of anxiety, which has been happening a lot. So
I always like to ask, what would you tell salespeople to stop doing right now?
I would literally tell salespeople to stop, and this is kind of counterintuitive to what I do, right? But stop thinking that somehow content on LinkedIn is like free sales training for them. And the reason that I say that is because most people out there right now that are listening are like, yeah, I follow you, Dale, or I follow you, Alex, or I follow any of the other amazing salespeople that are on the platform, Josh Braun, Kevin Dorsey. I mean, I could go on, right, naming these folks, but this is what people need to understand is that they're interpreting what we're writing, right? They're interpreting how you're putting something. They're interpreting how I'm putting something. Y'all need to take action, right? Y'all need to, and stop sitting back and saying like, well, I sent some of those crumpled letter things you talked about. Nothing happened. Like, listen, I just got a text last night from somebody that sent 9 of them and set 7 appointments, right? So you must not understand it, right? Your perception is ruling you. This interpretation that you have is coming more dissatisfaction, more distaste, because you sit back and you go, yeah, I really like what they say, but when I try to do the stuff or apply it to my walk, like it doesn't work. Well, no shit. It's not supposed to work that way, right? It's the idea is that you're supposed to be tapping into your own authenticity through our content, through our thought leadership, right? In the first place, if you want to even call it that, because my thought leadership is more like just tirades on LinkedIn about, what I do or don't like. and I think that more than anything, it's an outlet for guys like me and you to be able to express and that we want to help, right? But it doesn't mean that everything that we say is right or perfect. But it does mean that if you do like it, to stop treating it as if it's free sales training and start doing something about it, taking action and getting accountability inside of the things that you want to fix for yourself.
What would you tell B2B marketers is the most important thing they need to stop doing right now?
I think we should stop collecting or looking at email addresses and names as a free to bombard them with a whole bunch of things that they don't care about. I think every touch point that we as marketers do, that might be email or whatnot, either builds your brand or kills your brand. And once we start recognizing that, I think we will probably send less spam, we'll probably send less emails, and we'll probably send more thoughtful and meaningful things to people that are worthy of their time and respectful to them. So what I want to leave everybody with is like asking yourself the question, are you building your brand with your marketing programs, or are you killing it?
Let's focus on SDRs or SDR leaders. If you could tell them to stop doing something right now, what would it be? What are the things that you're thinking like, everyone needs to just stop doing this?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because there was a lot of things that I could say here that like everyone is talking about essentially. So one thing I'm going to say is actually like going in too hard like on the first email. So like essentially like asking for a meeting on the first email. I think people are catching on to this more and more now, but essentially the way I think about it is whenever we start a campaign, and we were talking about marketing and sales, I always involve marketing, like when we're onboarding a client, because I say, what is the one bit of content you have that's like super valuable to your customers? Like, what's your most downloaded bit of content? And like, how does it help your customers essentially? And then like create interest in that.
So one of the things I do like to ask is, we can talk forever about all the great things we should do with the foundations. What's one of the things that you're seeing at the moment that you'd almost tell people to stop doing right now? What's the thing that's kind of like, oh, I wish I could stamp this out of the sales community?
How much time do you have? You said we're running short on time, right? Here's the biggest thing I've got. So let me set the stage for you, okay? And I want you to tell me how you are going to react when this happens, right?
Okay.
So pretend I'm 23-year-old Sam BDR, and I reach out to you, Alex. I've got a strong email that I send out, and you say, this makes sense. Perhaps you respond to my navigator email and you say, great, you respond. I would love to take a meeting with you. That sounds great. Then the next thing I do is I respond to you and I say, great, Alex, here's my Calendly link for you to schedule time with me. How do you feel when that comes through in your email?
Potentially a little bit shortchanged, maybe a little bit like you're trying to make it too easy for yourself. I don't know. It might leave a bit of a bad taste.
Totally. This is one of the things that I absolutely hate. I see this happen day in and day out. When you get a response, so my commitment, my mantra is to you guys, as anyone that's on the BDR Sarge, especially in leadership, that you're teaching this the right way. When somebody responds to you and actually is willing to give you the time of day, the thing that we are working to have happen all day, every day, so desperately for, respond immediately. Urgent bird gets the worm. Respond with urgency and say, Alex, thanks so much for your kind note. Can't wait to schedule time with you. Here are a few times I have available, or could you kindly send a few times to work on your end, and I'll make them work on my side.
I like to ask three simple questions at the end. We talk a lot about all the good things we could be doing right now. A lot of great advice, just like the nuggets of gold that you've just given. What are the things that, or perhaps one thing, you would tell people to stop doing out there? Let's focus specifically on SDRs.
I would say it's about mindset. So I hear a lot of reps pick up the phone and they've got a bit of a negative mindset and they think this person isn't going to pick up. And we've all got it in our heads over the last year that the phone doesn't work. And, you know, I don't agree with that because I've seen it work really well. But what happens when you pick up the phone with a negative mindset, thinking this person isn't going to answer, is when they do answer, you're on the back foot. Your confidence goes down. You start to scramble with an effective call opening, and it's really difficult to make your way back from that. So I encourage reps to picture what a successful outcome looks from that call.
I always like to ask, you know, that you've already revealed quite a few amazing things that people can already take away. If there was one thing you could say to people out there to stop doing, what would you say? What would you advise people to stop doing right now?
This is like one of my biggest learnings actually in my career, has been so many of my ideas have stopped before they got started because I didn't know how to scale them. And the best things I've done in any role have been the unscalable. So don't ever let scaling the idea of being able to scale an idea be the thing that prevents you from doing it. Just do it and then find a way to scale it. Because if it works and there's loads of demand, your CEO is not going to get mad at you because you've suddenly created an issue, like a good problem to solve. So just always think about how you could test out an idea without preventing the need to scale it be something that stops you doing it.